Have you ever been jolted awake at 3 in the morning by a pain so sharp it feels like someone's twisting your calf muscle with both hands? You gasp, you reach down frantically, and for those agonizing seconds you'd give anything to make it stop. What if I told you that right now, as you're listening to this, nearly 1 out of every 2 Americans over 60 is suffering from these nighttime ambushes, and most of you have no idea why it keeps happening? Do you know what's even more shocking? The solution might be sitting in your kitchen cupboard, or it could be as simple as understanding one single mineral that your muscles are literally crying out for. Let me paint you a picture. You've had a beautiful day. Maybe you spent the afternoon playing with your grandchildren at the park, or perhaps you tended to your garden feeling the warm sun on your shoulders. You settle into bed around 10, book in hand, completely relaxed. Your mind drifts into that peaceful space between waking and sleep. Then without warning, your foot twists backward, your toes curl under like claws, and your calf muscle seizes into a rock-hard knot. The pain shoots up your leg and tears through that peaceful moment like lightning through a clear sky. You throw off the covers, you try to stand, you press your foot flat against the floor, anything to release that vicious grip. And when it finally lets go, maybe 30 seconds later, maybe 2 minutes later, you're left breathless, shaken, and wide awake, knowing that sleep won't come easy now. Here's the truth that most doctors won't take the time to explain. Your muscles are controlled by 2 minerals that act like switches. Calcium tells your muscles to contract, to squeeze tight, to grab and hold. Magnesium tells them to release, to let go, to relax. When you don't have enough magnesium in your body, it's like having a light switch that can turn on but never turn off. Your muscles receive the squeeze signal, but they never get the release command. They contract and then they stay contracted, locked in that painful spasm because there's no magnesium present to tell them the show is over. Now let me share something that might make you angry. The medical establishment will tell you that leg cramps are just a normal part of aging. Something you should learn to live with, maybe take some pain medication when it happens. But that's not the full story, not even close. A comprehensive study published in Age and Aging in 2016 found that 50% of elderly patients in outpatient clinics reported rest cramps, and 20% had been suffering with them for 10 years or more without ever getting real answers from their physicians. 10 years of interrupted sleep, 10 years of pain, 10 years of reduced quality of life, and here's the part that should outrage you. Many of these patients never even mentioned their symptoms to their doctors because they assume nothing could be done. Welcome back to Verum Health Podcast, where every episode helps you stay strong, independent, and sharp as you age. I'm Dr. Samuel Harrison, and I've spent over 40 years in geriatric medicine right here in America, working with thousands of patients just like you. I'm 65 years old myself, and I understand the changes our bodies go through because I'm living them too. Today we're going to unravel the mystery of nocturnal leg cramps, and more importantly, I'm going to show you exactly how to stop them starting tonight. Before we go any further, let me bust 3 myths that are probably floating around in your mind right now. Myth number 1, leg cramps mean you're dehydrated. Sure, dehydration can contribute, but research shows that hydration status alone doesn't explain why your muscles seize up in the middle of the night. Myth number 2. You need to eat more bananas for potassium. Potassium matters, yes. But if you're magnesium deficient, loading up on bananas won't solve the core problem. It's like trying to fill your car with the wrong type of fuel. Myth number 3, these cramps are harmless and you should just tough it out. Wrong again. A 2012 study in the Journal of Foot and Ankle Research proved that nocturnal calf cramps significantly reduce your quality of sleep, leading to less adequate rest, reduced quantity of sleep, and lower scores in physical health measures, including bodily pain and general health perception. When your sleep suffers night after night, everything else starts to crumble: your mood, your energy, your ability to think clearly. Even your risk of depression increases. So here's the cliffhanger I want you to think about as we move forward. If half of all seniors are experiencing these cramps, and if magnesium is the missing piece, then why aren't our bodies holding on to this crucial mineral? What's stealing it away from us, and what changes happen inside our aging bodies that turn magnesium from something we have in abundance to something we're starving for? The answer involves your intestines, your kidneys, and possibly even the medication sitting in your bathroom cabinet right now. Stay tuned to discover the science behind this mineral theft, and more importantly, how to reclaim what your body desperately needs. Comment yes if you've experienced these nighttime cramps, and subscribe to Verum Health for free tips that can transform your golden years from painful to powerful. Let me introduce you to someone who could very well be your neighbor, maybe even your friend. His name is James Mitchell, a 72-year-old retired construction worker from Houston, Texas. James spent 35 years building homes across the Lone Star State, working long hours under that relentless sun, pouring concrete, framing walls, carrying lumber. He raised 3 kids with his wife Martha, put them all through college, and now he's finally enjoying what should be the peaceful chapter of his life. His 2 grandchildren, Emma and Lucas, live just 20 minutes away, and every Saturday morning they come over for pancakes and stories about the good old days. But 6 months ago, something changed. James started waking up 2, sometimes 3 times a night with cramps so severe he'd have to limp to the bathroom and splash cold water on his legs just to function. At first he brushed it off. You work hard for decades, your body complains a little, that's just life, right? But these weren't minor complaints. These were full-blown muscle seizures that left him exhausted the next day. Irritable with Martha, too tired to play catch with Lucas in the backyard. The joy was draining out of his retirement, one interrupted night at a time. James represents millions of American seniors who served their communities, who built this country with their own 2 hands, and who now find themselves trapped in a cycle of pain they don't understand. See, James's generation grew up believing that if you tough it out, if you don't complain, if you just push through, everything will be fine. But muscular health doesn't work on willpower alone. Your muscles operate on chemistry, on minerals, on biological signals that either work correctly or don't. And when those signals fail, no amount of mental toughness will stop a cramp from tearing through your calf at 2 in the morning. Here's what James didn't know, what millions of seniors still don't know: his body had been slowly losing its ability to hold on to magnesium for years. It started happening around age 60, maybe even earlier. The digestive system, which had efficiently absorbed nutrients for decades, began to slow down. His stomach produced less acid. His intestinal lining absorbed minerals less effectively. And his kidneys, working faithfully for 7 decades, started letting magnesium slip away in his urine instead of recycling it back into his bloodstream. This isn't laziness. This isn't poor choices catching up to him. This is biology. This is what happens when we age, and nobody prepared him for it. But there's more to James's story, and this is where it gets personal for so many of you listening. After his doctor diagnosed him with high blood pressure at age 65, James was prescribed hydrochlorothiazide, a common diuretic medication that millions of American seniors take every single day. That medication helps control his blood pressure beautifully, and his doctor was right to prescribe it. But here's what the doctor never mentioned during that 10-minute appointment: diuretics accelerate magnesium loss through the kidneys. Every time James took his blood pressure pill, he was unknowingly flushing more magnesium out of his system. Add that to his age-related absorption decline, and you've got a perfect storm brewing inside his muscles. Think about this for a moment. How many of you are taking similar medications? How many of you were sent home with a prescription and a take one daily instruction, but nobody sat you down to explain that your diet needed to change, that your mineral intake needed to increase, that your body would now struggle to maintain the balance it used to maintain effortlessly? James's story isn't unique, it's universal. He represents the disconnect between our healthcare system and the nutritional needs of aging Americans. We treat symptoms with pharmaceuticals, which we absolutely need and which save lives, but we forget to address the downstream effects those medications create. Now here's where James's experience connects to the broader historical context of American seniors. His generation, the baby boomers and those who came before, grew up in an era when processed food exploded onto the scene. White bread replaced whole grain, refined flour became the standard, and the mineral content of the American diet plummeted. Studies show that processing wheat into white flour reduces magnesium content by more than 80%. For decades, James ate what he thought was healthy bread, never knowing that the refinement process had stripped away the very minerals his muscles needed to function. James's Saturday mornings with Emma and Lucas now mean more than ever, because he understands that his independence, his ability to get down on the floor and build Lego castles with them, depends entirely on his body functioning properly. Stay tuned to discover the science behind why James's muscles were betraying him night after night, and how understanding the cellular mechanisms of muscle contraction finally gave him his sleep back. Now let me take you inside your body at the cellular level, where the real drama unfolds every single time a muscle contracts and releases. Picture your muscle cells as tiny factories, and inside each factory there are two foremen shouting opposite commands. Calcium is the foreman who yells, "Contract, squeeze, hold tight." And magnesium is the foreman who calmly says, "Okay, that's enough, let go, now relax." When both form and are present and working together, your muscles function beautifully. They contract when you need them to, and they release when the job is done. But when magnesium goes missing, calcium becomes the only voice in the room, and that voice never stops shouting. Here's the precise mechanism. When a nerve signal reaches your muscle fiber, it triggers the release of calcium ions from storage compartments inside the cell, called the sarcoplasmic reticulum. These calcium ions flood into the space between muscle filaments, where they bind to a protein complex and physically allow the muscle fibers to slide past each other and contract. This is normal. This is how movement happens. But to stop that contraction, to make the muscle relax again, your cells need magnesium to actively pump the calcium back into storage. Magnesium acts as nature's off switch by blocking calcium channels and activating the calcium pump that clears calcium out of the contraction zone. Without adequate magnesium, those calcium ions just keep stimulating contraction, and your muscle stays locked in a painful cramp. A groundbreaking study published in Nutrients in 2021 examined magnesium metabolism in aging populations and found something alarming. Intestinal magnesium absorption decreases by up to 30% in adults over 65 compared to younger adults. The researchers discovered that aging causes changes in the proteins responsible for transporting magnesium across the intestinal wall. Specifically, the expression of TRPM6 and TRPM7 channels, which are your body's magnesium gatekeepers, declines significantly with age. This means that even if you're eating the exact same diet you ate 20 years ago, your intestines are now only absorbing 70% of the magnesium that used to get through. But intestinal absorption is only half the truth. Your kidneys also play a massive role in magnesium balance, and here's where the story gets even more concerning. Under normal circumstances, your kidneys filter magnesium out of your blood along with other waste products, but then they reabsorb about 95% of it back into your bloodstream to maintain proper levels. However, research published in PMC in 2021 revealed that kidney function naturally declines with age, and this decline specifically affects the loop of Henle and the distal tubule, the exact parts of the kidney responsible for magnesium reabsorption. As these structures lose efficiency, more magnesium escapes into your urine and leaves your body permanently. The study found that seniors can lose an additional 50 to 100 milligrams of magnesium per day through this renal wasting, which over time creates a significant deficit. Now layer on top of that the medication factor. According to data from the National Institutes of Health, updated in 2025, proton pump inhibitors, which millions of Americans take for acid reflux and heartburn, can reduce magnesium absorption by up to 65% when used long-term. These medications work by shutting down acid production in your stomach, but stomach acid is essential for liberating magnesium from food so your intestines can absorb it. Similarly, diuretics prescribed for high blood pressure and heart failure increase urinary magnesium excretion by as much as 260%. Think about that number for a moment. 260% more magnesium lost every single day just from taking a medication designed to help your heart. Research from Age and Aging in 2016 documented that among elderly patients with nocturnal leg cramps, blood serum magnesium levels were at the lower end of the normal range in over 60% of cases. This condition is called subclinical magnesium deficiency, meaning it doesn't show up as abnormal on standard blood tests because your body desperately maintains blood levels by pulling magnesium from your bones and muscles to keep blood concentrations stable. So your blood test comes back normal. Your doctor tells you everything's fine, but meanwhile your muscle tissue is being stripped of the magnesium it needs to function. The recommended dietary allowance for magnesium is 320 milligrams per day for women over 60 and 420 milligrams for men over 60 according to the National Institutes of Health. But surveys show that the average American senior consumes only 200 to 250 milligrams daily, creating a chronic deficit of 150 to 200 milligrams every single day. Over weeks and months, this deficit accumulates in your muscle tissue, setting the stage for those nighttime cramps that feel like they come out of nowhere. But this is only half the truth. We haven't yet talked about how widespread this problem has become across America, how it's affecting not just individuals but entire communities, and what the hidden costs are to our healthcare system and quality of life. The scope of this crisis extends far beyond your bedroom at 3 in the morning. Think about this for a moment. If we know that 50% of elderly patients report leg cramps, and we know that America has approximately 54 million adults over the age of 65, then we're talking about 27 million Americans suffering from this condition right now. 27 million people waking up in pain, losing sleep, watching their quality of life erode one cramp at a time. That's not just a personal health issue, that's a national crisis hiding in plain sight, dismissed as normal aging when it's anything but normal. Let me paint you a picture of what this looks like across communities. Imagine a retirement community in Florida with 500 residents. Based on the statistics, 250 of them are experiencing regular leg cramps. Many of them are too embarrassed to mention it to their doctors, assuming it's just what happens when you get old. Some are taking over-the-counter pain relievers multiple times per week, adding unnecessary medication burden to their already complex drug regimens. Others are cutting back on activities they love, evening walks, dancing, gardening, because they're exhausted from interrupted sleep and afraid of triggering another cramp. The research published in the Journal of Foot and Ankle Research in 2012 revealed something heartbreaking: nocturnal leg cramps significantly reduce quality of sleep, leading to less adequate rest, reduced quantity of sleep, and lower scores in physical health measures, including bodily pain, general health perception, and vitality. When you multiply that impact across millions of seniors, you're looking at an epidemic of fatigue, increased fall risk from nighttime disruptions, higher rates of depression from chronic sleep deprivation, and decreased ability to engage in the activities that give life meaning. Here's an analogy that brings this home. Imagine if every night someone came into your neighborhood and randomly set off car alarms. Sometimes one alarm, sometimes 3. You never know when it's going to happen, but it happens often enough that you start going to bed with anxiety, wondering if tonight will be the night. You wake up exhausted, irritable, less able to focus during the day. Your relationships suffer because you're constantly tired. Your productivity drops. Your joy in life diminishes. That's what nocturnal leg cramps do to millions of American seniors, except the alarm going off is inside their own body and they've been told there's nothing they can do about it. The healthcare burden extends beyond individual suffering. Emergency room visits for severe cramps, prescription medications for sleep disturbances caused by cramps, physical therapy appointments for chronic muscle pain, all of this adds up. And here's the tragedy: much of it is preventable through proper nutrition and targeted supplementation. We're spending billions treating the downstream effects of magnesium deficiency while failing to address the root cause. But there's another layer to this story that deserves attention. Magnesium deficiency doesn't just cause leg cramps. The same mineral deficit contributes to high blood pressure, which affects 45% of American adults. It worsens blood sugar control in diabetics, it increases the risk of osteoporosis and bone fractures, and it's been linked to higher rates of cardiovascular disease. When we talk about magnesium deficiency, we're really talking about a fundamental nutritional gap that's undermining multiple systems in the aging body simultaneously. The silver lining in all of this is that magnesium deficiency is correctable. Unlike many age-related conditions that require complex interventions or expensive pharmaceuticals, restoring magnesium balance can be achieved through strategic dietary changes and affordable supplementation. The question isn't whether we can solve this problem; we absolutely can. The question is whether we'll recognize its importance and take action before another generation of seniors suffers unnecessarily through years of interrupted sleep and preventable pain. Now let me give you the roadmap that can change everything starting tonight. Think of magnesium restoration like refilling a depleted reservoir. You can't just pour in water once and expect it to stay full. You need a strategic approach that addresses both immediate relief and long-term balance. Here's your complete magnesium restoration plan, broken down into phases that your body can actually absorb and utilize. Week 1 is your adaptation phase. Start with 200 milligrams of magnesium glycinate taken at dinner time. Why glycinate specifically? Because research published in multiple nutrition studies confirms that magnesium glycinate has superior bioavailability compared to magnesium oxide, meaning your intestines actually absorb it instead of sending it straight through to your colon where it causes diarrhea. Take this supplement with food that contains healthy fat: a handful of almonds, half an avocado, or a tablespoon of olive oil drizzled on your vegetables. Fat enhances magnesium absorption at the intestinal level by helping transport it across cell membranes. During week 2, your normal phase begins. Increase to 400 milligrams daily, but split this into 2 doses, 200 milligrams at lunch and 200 milligrams at dinner. Your body absorbs minerals better in divided doses rather than one large bolus, and spreading it across meals maintains more stable blood levels throughout the day. This is also when you start strategically adding magnesium-rich foods to every single meal. For breakfast, add 1 ounce of almonds to your oatmeal or yogurt. That gives you 80 milligrams right there. At lunch, include half a cup of cooked spinach in your salad, or as a side dish, 78 milligrams. For dinner, serve 3 ounces of black beans alongside your protein that's 60 milligrams. These additions alone give you over 200 milligrams from food, which combined with your supplements brings you to 600 milligrams total, well above the recommended daily allowance. Now let's talk about the emergency protocol for when a cramp strikes right now in this moment. First, stand up immediately if you're able. Gravity pulls blood down into the cramping muscle, delivering oxygen and clearing out the lactic acid that's accumulated during the spasm. Press your full weight onto the cramping leg and actively flex your foot upward. Pull your toes toward your shin while simultaneously pushing down through your heel. This creates an opposing force that confuses the nerve signal telling your muscle to contract. The technical term is reciprocal inhibition, and it works because when you activate the muscles on the front of your leg, it sends a signal to relax the muscles on the back of your leg. Hold this position for 30 to 45 seconds, breathing deeply and steadily. Next, apply heat. Use a heating pad set to medium or soak a towel in hot water and apply it directly to the cramping muscle for 10 minutes. Heat dilates blood vessels, increases circulation, and helps flush out metabolic waste products that contribute to residual soreness after the initial spasm releases. If you don't have access to heat, use firm massage instead. Press your thumb into the center of the cramp and stroke firmly in one direction, always moving toward your heart. This manual pressure helps break up the muscle knot and encourages blood flow back through the area. Your cramp should resolve completely within 2 minutes using this sequence. But here's where we need to talk about safety, because not everyone can approach magnesium supplementation the same way. If you take diuretics for blood pressure or heart failure, or if you take statin medications for cholesterol, you are in a higher risk category for magnesium deficiency. Diuretics increase urinary magnesium loss by up to 260%. And statins interfere with magnesium metabolism at the cellular level. For you, 400 milligrams might not be enough. You may need 500 to 600 milligrams daily to maintain adequate levels. However, and this is critical, never exceed 400 milligrams daily without consulting your physician first. Your doctor may want to check your kidney function and monitor your blood magnesium levels to ensure you're dosing safely. Some of you will experience loose stools when you first start magnesium supplementation. This is your body's way of saying you're taking too much too fast, or you're using a poorly absorbed form like magnesium oxide. If this happens, drop back to 100 milligrams for 3 days, then increase gradually by 100 milligrams every 3 days until you reach your target dose without digestive issues. Patience here pays dividends. Slow and steady wins the race when it comes to replenishing depleted mineral stores. Here's your daily action checklist that you can start implementing today. Number 1, purchase magnesium glycinate supplements from a reputable brand, not magnesium oxide, which has poor absorption. Number 2, take your magnesium with meals that contain fat to maximize absorption. Number 3, add at least 3 magnesium-rich foods to your daily diet: almonds, spinach, black beans, pumpkin seeds, or whole grains. Number 4, Stay hydrated by drinking 8 glasses of water daily because adequate hydration supports mineral balance throughout your body. Number 5, if you take medications that deplete magnesium, schedule a conversation with your doctor about monitoring your levels and potentially adjusting your supplementation dosage. Now let me tell you something that goes beyond just stopping cramps. Magnesium improves sleep quality by regulating neurotransmitters that calm your nervous system. It reduces blood pressure by relaxing the smooth muscle in your blood vessels, with studies showing reductions of 5 to 10 points in systolic pressure. It helps regulate blood sugar by improving insulin sensitivity, which is crucial for preventing or managing type 2 diabetes. It strengthens bones by working synergistically with calcium and vitamin D to maintain bone density. You're not just preventing pain when you restore magnesium balance, you're upgrading your entire physiology, and that's something worth celebrating. Who should not supplement with magnesium without medical supervision? Anyone with severe kidney disease, anyone on dialysis, anyone with a history of heart block or slow heart rate, and anyone taking antibiotics in the tetracycline or fluoroquinolone families, as magnesium can interfere with their absorption. Remember that picture I painted at the beginning. You lying in bed peacefully, book in hand, drifting into that space between waking and sleep when suddenly your calf muscle seized into that vicious knot. Now imagine a different scene. It's 3 weeks from today. You've been following the Magnesium Restoration Plan faithfully. You're in that same bed, same book, same peaceful moment. But this time your muscles stay relaxed. Your toes stay soft. Your calves remain loose and comfortable. You drift into deep restorative sleep and you stay there for 7 solid hours. When you wake up, you're not exhausted from battling midnight cramps. You're refreshed, energized, ready to embrace the day ahead. Let me tell you what happened to James Mitchell, the retired construction worker from Houston we met earlier. 3 months after he started supplementing with magnesium glycinate and adding magnesium-rich foods to every meal, his nighttime cramps disappeared completely. Not reduced, not managed, gone. He told me during his follow-up appointment that he felt like he'd gotten his life back. Saturday mornings with Emma and Lucas became joyful again. He had the energy to teach Lucas how to swing a hammer to build that birdhouse they'd been planning. His relationship with Martha improved because he wasn't constantly irritable from sleep deprivation. He started sleeping through the night for the first time in years. And that single change rippled out to improve everything else in his life. Your transformation can start right now, today, with 3 immediate steps. Step 1. Purchase magnesium glycinate supplements this week. Not next month, not when you remember, but this week. Step 2. Add almonds to your breakfast tomorrow morning, spinach to your lunch, and black beans to your dinner. These 3 foods alone will give you over 200 milligrams of bioavailable magnesium from whole food sources. Step 3. Schedule a conversation with your doctor if you're taking diuretics, proton pump inhibitors, or statins, because these medications require you to be more aggressive about magnesium supplementation. And your physician needs to be part of that conversation. Picture yourself 6 months from now. You're walking through the park with your grandchildren, not worrying about whether you'll pay for this activity with a cramp tonight. You're sleeping deeply, waking refreshed, feeling decades younger than you did just months ago. Your blood pressure has come down a few points. Your blood sugar is more stable. Your bones are stronger because magnesium works synergistically with calcium and vitamin D to maintain bone density. You're not just living longer, you're living better, and that's the whole point of these golden years. Freedom looks like sleeping through the night without fear. Confidence looks like knowing you have the tools to stop a cramp within 2 minutes if one does strike. Better quality of life looks like waking up energized instead of exhausted, like having the stamina to do the activities you love, like maintaining your independence and vitality well into your 80s and beyond. I've been practicing geriatric medicine for over 4 decades. And I can tell you with absolute certainty that small nutritional changes create massive health transformations. Magnesium isn't a magic pill, but it's as close as we get in the world of preventive medicine. It's affordable, it's safe when used correctly, and it addresses a fundamental deficit that millions of American seniors are suffering with unnecessarily. If this information helped you understand your body better, hit that like button right now. Comment below and tell me which topic you want me to cover next. Should I talk about natural ways to lower blood pressure, or would you prefer to learn about preventing osteoporosis through nutrition? Your voice matters here at Verum Health. Subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode that could change your life. The next secret we uncover might be exactly what you've been searching for, and I don't want you to miss it.